Welcome to the Go Reflect Yourself podcast, bringing you real, practical, brain-based strategies to cultivate a life and business full of freedom and fulfillment, starting from the inside out. Working hard and staying busy will only get you so far. To truly become happy, content, and who we are meant to be, we have to move beyond physical capacities and begin to reflect from within. We have to change our thoughts and our mindset into our most powerful assets, transforming you to take inspired action so you can become a better version of yourself and have the life of your dreams.
You are stronger than you believe. You have greater powers than you know.
Hello, and welcome to the Go Reflect Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Heather J. Crider, and my goal is to bring brain-based reflection strategies for your high-performance success so you can have fulfillment in all areas of your life. And today I have a very special guest with me, Miss Tessa Greenspan. And Tessa has been a mentor of mine for many years, and she's mentored many people as well. But Tessa is an author. She wrote From Outhouse to Penthouse, and we will talk about that a little bit today. She is a motivational speaker, and she's also one of the most successful and influential women in business. As a former business owner that owned Sappington's Market for over 28 years, she knows all the things it takes to be successful and to overcome major obstacles. And I'm just so thrilled and honored that Tessa Greenspan is with us today. So Tessa, welcome.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure. And actually our mentorship was a give and take, Heather, because we both are on the same path, and I love and adore you. And so I want to get that out of the way, that I think that you are absolutely amazing. And anyone listening is very, very lucky to have you or to listen to you.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. I don't really have the right words to address that other than it's a mutual admiration, and thank you so much. And you know, what's interesting about that is this give and take. Really, the more that you serve, the more you're fulfilled and it fills you up. And I know that's been a big part of your life and your mission as well. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
I'll tell you what my mission is in life. Been my goal for many, many years, and that is to live full out, healthy, touch as many people in a positive way as I possibly can, to live a life of significance and to leave a legacy of positivity. So that is really my goal in life, and has been. And so I work every single day towards those goals.
Oh, I love that. Leaving a legacy of positivity.
Yes.
You know, it's so needed. And you and I have talked about this so much. Life can be really hard. I mean, obviously, we are still dealing with a pandemic and things that people have never had to deal with. But even despite that, life is still hard. And my question to you, and oh my gosh, you've got such a vast history here, but when it's really hard, why is it so important to have positivity?
Well, first of all, it's really important to get back to how we can get back to positivity. It's so important. What you do every day, every single day, I meditate. When I get up, I meditate. I read my readings. Then I write in my journal at least 10 things or more that I have to be thankful and grateful for. And then I read to myself, and then I sit for a few minutes. So in order to be positive, you have to have some sort of structure to get back to, because life can throw challenges, and has. And I don't think anybody would ever want my challenges. So it's important, though, to have something that we can go back to get centered again. You know, the peace that passes all understanding. So if we don't work on ourselves every day, then life is going to throw us a big curve when major challenges come. And even like the pandemic, what have you done while you have been shut down? Has it been helpful to you? Or did you just sit on the couch and feel sorry for yourself, or eat and gain 15 or 20 pounds?
Right.
So it really is. So did that answer your question?
Yes, structure, having those consistent things to help keep you, because life is going to pull you away.
Yes,
and
it
if
is.
you can have those, it will keep you on that positive train and track a little bit better anyway.
Well, this is true. So it's really getting back to the center. But if we don't have a process of working at keeping ourselves at that, then it's going to throw us for a loop if we do not have some sort of a method to get back to the center, back to peace, back to the joy, and learn what's important in life. What everyone learned during this is what's important. Your family is important. The love that you have for your family, your children, your space, that you have this wonderful place to live in, that you have these things to read, that you have so many things that many people may not have. So it's really, we've all learned family meals, talking, not watching television so much, doing the things, getting back to where it was in the 50s and 60s in the childhood homes.
Oh, that's so sweet. So let's talk about that a little bit, because when we think about positivity, and I'm gonna be stuck on that word for just a minute, because
That's
so
good.
many people feel that if you have this Pollyanny attitude, that's throwing things under the rug and that you're just ignoring problems. And it's not about that. And I like what you're talking about here, because not only having the routine helps recenter you, but if we take it even a step further back, a lot of people don't really understand the importance of that. It's this balance between, how do you have this positivity that's real and productive, versus this Pollyanny attitude that just, you kind of forget everything. Do you know what I mean?
I do. And actually, I've had many coaches in my life, and life coaches. And one of the things one said to me that was so helpful, and that is, it doesn't mean that this hasn't happened, but it's really important for you to sit with it, feel it, cry if you want, but feel this. And then pretend that there is a big bowl under you, and that you're going to drop this and you're going to give it to God. So there are methods, and that's just one little, but there are methods. It doesn't mean that hard things do not happen to you. Again, it's how you work at taking care of it, work at getting back to the center. Find methods that really help you. Many people in many religions have this writing everything out and then having a burning ceremony. And there again is giving it to God. It's really, or giving it to the universe, or whatever you want to call it. Right. There are methods. And so it's really important to find methods on how to deal with the challenges that came up. I've had major, major, major challenges in my lifetime. And I am grateful that I had a mentor. My mother was a mentor, as far as never feeling sorry for herself, always looking for the solutions. And she always said to me, you can choose to be a victim or a victor.
Is that where your original positivity came from?
Yes.
Was your mother?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You talk about her. Obviously, your book really is dedicated to her, the struggles that she went through and the challenges that she had to overcome. Yes. Can you just give a little teaser? I know a lot of that is in your book, but your book is so appropriately, and I know you've got it behind you as well, from Outhouse to Penthouse, Life Lessons on Love, Laughter, and Leadership. And I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful read, and it's so inspirational. And Tessa, you did such a beautiful job Not only dedicating it to your mother, but really just explaining that no matter how hard things are, you've got the choice in those moments.
It's so true. It's really in the choice. Yes. Now, I do want to say, because I had this fabulous role model, doesn't mean everybody does, but you can find a role model. And I suggest that every single person do, whether it be an adult or whatever, find a role model, a person that you want to be around, that you want to emulate. So that's what I want to encourage everyone.
Absolutely.
Well, I will just sort of briefly tell you some really what I feel are really important things. And one is, my mother was from the back hills of Arkansas. Her father was a sharecropper in a cotton plant farm. And so, and she had to quit. All the girls had to quit. There were 7 kids in her family. Her mother died when she was 5, and there were 2 younger children. Her father married another woman, and they lived in this shack in the back hills of Arkansas. And this woman had 3 kids. So now in this shack, there are 10 kids and 2 adults. You can't even envision this. This was a hard dirt floor, no electricity, no running water, and an outhouse out back. So that is really, you have to learn where she came from in order to really see and admire what she did in her life.
Yeah.
When she was, every year after the crops were in, they all went on a picnic, an hour ride by wagon. Everybody cooked and took food and to a big picnic. And when the year she was 14, everybody was looking forward to it. So they went on the picnic. She met this cute guy, and they were talking and walked a long way, and they were close to woods. And he pulled her in the woods and raped her. He said, if you tell anybody, I will come and kill your family. So she was terrified. Not only was she traumatized, but she was terrified that something would happen to her family. 9 months later, I was born. Her stepmother wanted her to have an abortion by this old backcountry doctor, and she refused. Now, this is a person who had no one to go to, no place to turn to. So, but she refused. I was born in that house with a hard dirt floor. Her stepmother did not want another family to feed. So they found a man for her to marry, and she got married and left. So there are several things that I would really like to share, because I feel that every single person has one incident, maybe 2 or 3, that affects them for all of their life. Mm-hmm. My mother married this man and had a little girl 23 months later by this man that she married, and he wasn't nice to her. But anyway, he went into the service, and so my mother went to East St. Louis, Illinois, where her sisters were, and she started working as a waitress. Well, my sister and I were visiting my grandparents in Arkansas. I was 4.5 and my sister was 2.5. The person that I thought was my father, I was 4.5, he was on leave at Christmas time. We were at my grandparents. He came in his army uniform, and he picked her up, held her, brought her 2 presents, and nothing for me. It was, what's wrong with me? I went into the kitchen, and an aunt said to me, honey, don't you worry. That's not your daddy anyway. How do you process this when you're 4.5? It was at that moment, though, I decided, and it affected me all the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. I was going to be so strong, so cute, so smart, that no one could ever ignore me again. Now, I was 4.5 years old. It served me well, though, because I became an overachiever. No one could stop me in life. So the things that happen to you many times, and most people do have something that impacts their life, that it's a decision that you make for your life. That moment is what shaped my life that I became an overachiever, to show that I was good enough. Didn't matter who my daddy was. I was good enough. But always lingering in the back of my mind is what's wrong with me. So proving my worth over and over again. And I think this is really important for people to know, because many people can look at me and see success or whatever, but no one knows. Most people did not know from whence I came. So there's just another story that I feel is really important. Now, my mother, when the man got out of the service, he came by and said he didn't want a family. So he divorced her. So here she was, 20 years old with 2 little girls, 20 years old. She was working the late shift. We were visiting my grandparents again in the summertime. She was going to come on a bus and pick us up from East St. Louis, Illinois to Paragould, Arkansas. Her friend that she worked with said, I have a car, I will take you. So they were on the way to get my sister and I, and he hit a huge concrete part going on a bridge, crushed her from the waist down. He was thrown out of the car. She had to be cut out. Her legs and her lower part was mangled. The doctors didn't think she was going to live. This still touches me. Mm-hmm. She was in the hospital for 13 months. That's how bad it was. And my grandparents were watching us. They didn't want to, but they had no choice. So after 12 months, gangrene set in her left leg. And the psychiatrist came in to tell her that they had to amputate her left leg. And she's 20 years old with 2 little girls. She said, do what you have to do. I have to get out of here. I have 2 little girls to raise. She got out of the hospital. She had 2 kids, 1 leg, and no money. We were on welfare. We lived in the Gompers as projects in East St. Louis, Illinois. Now, one other thing, though, that's so important is she did not want to be on welfare. So she found a government program. And, you know, if you have an amputated leg, I mean, she was 21 by the time she got out of the hospital, then it takes a year or longer for your leg to heal. She found a government program that taught people with disabilities different things. She went to school on a bus on crutches for over a year, learning to be a secretary in an office. So that's my role model.
Mm-hmm. What determination. Absolute determination.
She said you can be a victor or a victim. It is your choice.
No wonder you're a strong woman. You had the ultimate role model. But the thread that you're pulling is you don't have to be the person directly impacted. We all have our significant emotional experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the stories that you have imprinted, so from a neuroscience perspective, you have these memories, you have these beliefs and these feelings very tied to that. Mm-hmm. And now, because that's how your brain is trained, every single event you're putting through that same lens.
That's true.
But then you've got the choice. You took the time to rewrite your story in terms of, I'm not a victim. I'm a powerful woman and I matter. And you're right. From a little girl at 4 years old to think, I mean, we all want to feel important and that we matter. Mm-hmm. So you had to train yourself that you mattered.
It's very true. I became a self-help groupie and I still am today.
Yes, you are.
Every self-help book. I've been to hundreds of seminars, and I still today am always finding new and wonderful things to learn and grow. And that's, to me, what life is. To always have something to look forward to, learn and grow. I won't live long enough to grow and read all the books that I want to read or be all that I can possibly be.
But you're striving to, and that's
Yes.
what I admire about you, not only despite the things that you've been through, but you've also experienced some significant success where a lot of people would say, well, you've lived a great life. Why don't you just go retire on a beach and play cards all day? I mean, some people, and that's fine if that's what people want to do, but you don't want to do that.
I can't even imagine it. But you're right. I could stay home and not do anything and be very well taken care of. But what good is life? What good to me is my life if all of the things I've learned, if I don't have an opportunity to share them with people, that it could help? Oh, to me, that's sort of an injustice to your existence to not share what you've learned.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And you're so right, especially now, especially in the times that we're in, and so much uncertainty and things that people, I mean, God forbid somebody have to go through an experience like you have, and you went through others in your adulthood as well. But we don't want people to have to experience these traumas. But even small things can seem really, really devastating. It doesn't have to be a big thing to really upset your life. And that's kind of the point, is if we can learn first who we are and to be able to find these skills within ourselves, we can create this bubble of positivity that no matter what, we can overcome. So that's really what your goal is to spread that message to help people overcome their obstacles.
It's so true. It is so true. And it is possible. It doesn't matter what has happened to you in life. There is always this glimmer of hope. We are the beloved children of God, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it. And we have a right to be here. And we also have a mission to encourage and to help others. That's my belief anyway.
That's huge. Let's talk for a second, because I know you really well, and I know a lot of stories about you, and I won't embarrass you too much. But
you can say whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
But let's talk about going back to your mother being such an amazing influence for you. And again, what determination for her to overcome what she did. But you talk about her singing and how she approached things from joy. Talk about that a little bit.
I will. She never felt sorry for herself. And this is so amazing. A person that could have felt so sorry for themselves. But she sang gospel songs all the time. And words that helped her. And I caught it, by the way. It's like, oh, it is not, be not afraid. Or, when she would maybe afraid. Or, I can't think of any at the moment. But I have all of these songs that are inbred in me. And what happens now, Heather, is these songs come to me for others. When they're going through something, it might be on my heart, a certain song, or I can't think of one at the moment, but these songs come to me for other people.
You and I stayed in a hotel room together. Gosh, it's been 4 years ago now. I can't remember, but it was the cutest thing because we didn't have music and you were singing and, you didn't even realize you were doing it because Tessa just flutters around and has fun no matter what situation you're in. And you started singing and we created, and I'm looking at my phone right now because I still have it. I call it the Tessa Happy Playlist. And we created this playlist of these fun, happy songs. And I always think about you because I play it at least once a week of I need to get my Tessa happy song playlist. And
That's so good, Heather.
it's so true though. And that's one of the most fond memories I have of our time together is a lot of people get up in the morning and they're grumpy, they don't have their coffee, you know, they choose to look at things in certain ways. And why? And that's what was interesting about our time together is you got up and you immediately started singing and getting ready for the day. And it was so fun, but joyful. And it puts you in a place of energy and a place
Yeah.
of vibration
Yes.
where now you can accept and look at things through a different lens. And that comes from your mother.
Yes, it does. It does. Well, one of the songs that I sing is We'll Sing in the Sunshine. We'll laugh every day. We'll sing in the sunshine. And then I'll be on your way. But there are others, and I don't know what yours, but I Choose Joy is one of mine. What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. And Celebration by Kool and the Gang. Those are just songs. Happy is another one.
Yep.
So I don't know which songs you have.
Those are the ones we added.
Okay, all right. So, but that's another thing, though, that we could share with people is when things or when you're in a bad mood or whatever, turn on some happy music and sort of dance. And I say, skip. If you are in a bad mood, go outside and skip. You cannot laugh at yourself when you are skipping down the street and feeling foolish. So this is another way to get out. And there are many things, and I love to really give people those suggestions of how to break the chain of angry or depression or whatever. There are methods to do that. And skipping, I would suggest that everybody do.
I love
I used to tell this to my daughter all the time. Go on, skip. And she would. I mean, she was little, but I would make them.
It's so true, though. You can't not put a smile on your face just by skipping. And that's what I love about the innocence of children.
Yes.
They don't have the impressions and the experiences and the blinders that we sometimes and masks that we put on to protect ourselves. And just tapping into that childlike joy is a huge way to flip the switch, flip the script if we're in a place where we're not serving ourselves very well.
So true.
And joy. True. We've talked about that a lot from joy. You're not going to let anybody take your joy away from you.
No, I am not. I really am not. Yeah. You know, I say that I sort of have a bubble around me that it's a protective piece. I am not going to not let a lot of negative come into my space because one, it won't serve me. And I tell everyone, turn off the television. You know, if you have to watch it once because it's saying the same thing over and over again. Because that gets in your brain and it goes over and over. Do something that's fun with your children. Call your mother or call someone that is positive and upbeat and just say, I'm just checking on you. Yeah. So it's so important to go out in the woods, go outside, take your shoes off and stand in the grass with your shoes off. That's sort of grounding you too.
Absolutely.
So there are methods. There are so many different methods that you can do to change your mindset, no matter what is going on.
Yeah. And that's really what it's about, is that moment to moment. A lot of people, mindfulness, and I talk about mindfulness a lot. And I know you and I've had a lot. We've been through a lot of the same trainings together, which is so amazing. But mindfulness isn't about bad things not happening. It's being in the present, knowing you have the tools and resilience to handle no matter what. And the more that we're in the present and really, really absorbing and having this curiosity, the more that we can combat these, what I call these negative Nancy things that come in our brains. I love it.
I totally agree with you. We are so on the same path as far as what our beliefs are and what we do to work on it. And it doesn't mean that things have not happened to you, Heather.
Yep.
Many, many challenging things that would break many people.
Yep.
It made you stronger. And I am so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I'm honored that you've not only been an inspiration to me, but you've had the courage to share, because again, you don't know what you don't know. And when you're going, and I've come to you, I've been in situations where I've come to you and you have flat out said, just stop it, just stop and look at it like this. And in those moments when you're in it, that's when these skills are so much more important, because it's harder to see through it when you're in the really tough stuff.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah. So talk to me about you have a list of the 7 important, I think it's the 7 important things to deal with when you have chaos.
Yes. Or in this time is really a good one. Yes, these are wonderful and I love them. Well, the first is optimism. And actually there's little sayings underneath it. And that is, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without faith and optimism. And that's by Helen Keller. Think about that.
Yeah.
Faith and optimism. I mean, this is a person that couldn't see and couldn't hear.
You want to talk about the ultimate victim that could have chosen that perspective.
But the point of it is, she had someone that believed in her and helped her. And this is what's so important in life, for us to have someone that will believe and help us through whatever the circumstances are.
Yeah. To
have a trusted thing. So I think that, her life story would be good for any person to go back and read or see the movie. Just if you're feeling sorry for yourself, especially, go back and see.
Yeah. So optimism.
Yes. The second is curiosity. Curiosity cultivates wonder, inquiry, and delight. We could say a lot of things about curiosity, and that is to be curious always about life, always to look forward to seeing what we don't know. But we could do whole podcasts on each one of these words because
Absolutely.
they are so profound. The next one is trust in self and your intuition. As soon as you trust yourself, you will know how to live. And I would say, love yourself, work at loving yourself, not only trusting yourself, love yourself also, and work at that. Say to yourself, I love you. I love you. Say it over and over in your mirror until tears come into your eyes. So trust in self and in your intuition. If you know something, and my mother was not schooled, quit school in the 8th grade, but she had this inner knowing. She said, if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. If you're going to get on a plane and it feels not right, do not get on that plane. So she had this innate, I say, from the universe or inner guidance that she listened to, which is really big.
Yes.
The next one is courage. It takes courage to show up and become who you really are. Think about that. You and I have both had to have courage in some areas. And you can really applaud yourself. You had to have courage in spite of a lot of things. I had to have courage in order to do some of the things that I did, in spite of people saying she can't do it or she'll never make it.
Yeah.
When I went into the produce business, this is a woman, what does she know? But I had the courage that I was going to do it. In fact, if you tell me I can't, you just watch. It's my way of life.
And the courage to prove them wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Aww.
the next one, number 5, is sense of humor and laughter. And I feel this is so important. Common sense and a sense of humor are the same thing, moving at different speeds. A sense of humor is just common sense dancing. That's cute. William James said that, and he was actually, he wrote the book As a Man Thinketh, and it's one of my favorite of all time books. So that the next one is what I have asked probably 20 different psychiatrists. Resilience. Resilience. She was unstoppable, not because she did not have failures or doubts, but because she continued on despite them. The reason I have been really always curious about resilience is the story is my sister and I were raised the same way. We both had the same role model. My sister became an alcoholic very young, and then eventually became a drug addict, and then died of an overdose. Now, I have asked so many psychiatrists, what makes one person thrive and another one succumb? Or overcome and succumb are 2 different words. And they have all said resilience. It's the perception, your perception and your determination, and it's the choices that you make in life. But this has been a major question that I have asked so many psychiatrists and thought leaders. What makes one succumb and another overcome? From the same family, from the same examples. And that's what the answer that I got. It's resilience. It's the choices that we make in life.
It is. I had the same exact path between myself and my sister. So I completely understand.
It really is amazing. But what's so great is that we chose differently. And it's about choices. And it's also about perception. But we can overcome or succumb. It's all about choices. So, and number 7 is taking risk. Only those who were let me start again. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far it is possible to go. That's by T.S. Eliot. So isn't that good?
It is. So to summarize the important 7, and you're right, we could spend a whole day dissecting each one, but optimism, curiosity, trusting in yourself, listening to your intuition, and loving yourself. That's all number 3. Courage, having a sense of humor and laughter. Resilience, and then taking risks.
That's so good. Did you type that out?
I did.
I was wondering, did you remember all that?
I just have that good of a memory. I was really listening. I was listening, but I wanted to make sure to remember. But you're so right. And I think resilience, to kind of wrap all of those up, the way I would look at it is all of those things lead to the ability to have resilience.
That's true. It's really about the choices that we make and our perception too. And determination of we're not going to be a certain way, or we're going to always be a certain way.
That's right.
It really is our choice.
Yes, it is. So speaking of choices, what choices have you made over this past, we'll say 6 months? Because you mentioned that earlier. People have a choice during this time of what you put in your brain, how you're able to really maneuver throughout this. And some people have chosen different paths. So what have you chosen to do?
I have made some really great choices, and I'm really grateful for that. So I decided I was going to do and learn some of the things that I didn't know that I always meant to, like YouTube and Instagram and a lot of other kinds of things. But also my goal on speaking is to be able to reach people's heart. So I found this amazing, wonderful professor at Webster University in St. Louis, Missouri. And I take a Zoom class on speech and speaking twice a week. So, and there are some books that I wanted to do. So I am doing now a book club Zooms. I am doing Zooms. I just spoke to the Federal Reserve. So I am doing Zoom to the American businesswomen in Florida at the end of the month. I am also doing Tuesdays with Tessa, with a renowned psychologist that sort of interviews me, and we're talking about some of the similar things that we're talking about, but really putting positivity out into the world. So Tuesdays with Tessa, and they can follow me on Facebook. They can go to Dr. Deb Carlin. All of the podcasts are there. And you can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, all of these things. But these are the things that I have wanted to do, is to get better at all of these things. And so, and writing articles. I have like 10 articles in Thrive Global, which is an online magazine by Arianne Huffington. So writing articles. Also, there are 3 or 4 in Gazelle magazine here in St. Louis. So there are so many things. I don't have enough time in every day to do all of the things I want, and then we're talking about exercising. So there are some things I do. So it's really, I have never been bored, ever. I also do a lot to up my immune system. So and thank God I am in perfect health, and I am so grateful for that. I am very proactive, though, in eating organic foods, what I do, what I put in my mind. And I think what we put in our mind is probably the top most important thing of all of the things that we can do. Because you can eat right, you can do a lot of things, but if you're angry and ugly and hate and all of this, it will not help you. You would get old and wrinkled.
And nobody wants that.
No. So those are just a few of the things that I've been doing.
Yeah, it does not surprise me. And that's why you're able to continue to grow and move forward. And again, throughout this time, you've really taken a huge advantage of the opportunity to be able to take a step back so you can now incorporate these things that you've wanted to do. You've been more of a personal development, you said it earlier, personal development junkie. I would look at that as just a way of being, consistently growing and developing and being a better version that you can then share with others. And what a beautiful gift. I love it.
Well, I feel gifted in so many ways. I am blessed beyond measure. And so I want to share that with other people, of processes to get to that point.
Yeah. If you could recommend, obviously you've got your book, which I highly recommend. If you could recommend one book for someone, and I know that's a tough question because there's so many wonderful books, but if you could only recommend one, what would you recommend?
Okay, I will give you that answer. I will tell you, you can go on tessagreenspan.com and see a whole group of books on positive thinking and law of attraction and all this. But the one book that I feel, first I'll back up and say, I've been a student of Dr. Joseph Murphy for many, many years. And his book was The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Well, James Jensen has been a student of Dr. Murphy's for years. And his book, Beyond the Power of Your Subconscious Mind, is probably the one book, and I have read thousands. If you saw all of the books that I have, thousands of books, and I still cannot get enough of it. But Beyond the Power of Your Subconscious Mind by C. James Jensen, Jensen. It is probably one of the best books ever, with a lot of processes of what you can do. Yeah. But that book, and I love books. I know the law of attraction and all of these are really important. But this book, and his next book is The 7 Keys to a Fulfilling Life. which also gives, but the Beyond the Power of Your Subconscious Mind by C. James Jensen is the best of all time.
That's wonderful. And then if you could give one strategy, and I like to say a 60-second strategy, quick, easy to remember, but one strategy when someone is finding themselves in a high anxiety or high stressful situation, or just feeling that either negativity or overwhelm, what would be one strategy you would recommend to someone in that moment?
Well, I would like to give you three, but I'll give you one
You
first.
can give three. I'll let you give three.
All right. One is to breathe deep. You draw your breath in to the count of 10, hold it to the count of 10, and then breathe out. Do that at least 3 times, and that changes your mindset at the moment, because you can't think of 2 things at one time. So if you're thinking about breathing, pull in, breathe deep, the count of 10, hold it for the count of 10, and then breathe out 3 or more times. That will help you immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Also, putting on happy music, that too will help. But there is also a process in cybernetics that I'll be glad to explain. And that I think that book may be even on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But it is having the best adventure in your mind with the sights, the sounds, the feelings, and everything in the top of your mind. Anytime that the negative or whatever comes, stop it. When you're aware, become aware of the negative. When you're aware, then you can do anything. Then go to your wonderful experience. So it's just being aware, catching it, because thoughts are things. And because you think of something doesn't mean that it's true.
Yeah.
But become aware is one of the most important things. So there are 3 things that I think are really very powerful.
That's fantastic. And the book you were just referencing for that is Psycho-Cybernetics, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wonderful. You have a lot of little tidbits, but one of the things that you talk about often is the optimist creed.
Yeah.
And you even have bookmarks and lots of different sayings within them. But why is the optimist creed, and it kind of encompasses everything we've just been talking about this entire time, but is there a certain connection that you have with that?
No, except that it's my life. And it has been on the back of all of my business cards for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's promise yourself. And it's really reaffirming. Do you have it?
I do.
Okay, well, why don't you read it? Because I think it's really so important. I absolutely love this saying.
Okay.
Because it encompasses everything. So go.
Okay. The optimist creed, promise yourself to be strong, that nothing can disturb your peace of mind, to talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet, to make all your friends feel that there is something in them, to look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true, to think only of the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best, to be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own, to forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future, to forget, oh, I just read that, to wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile, to give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others, and to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble.
It's so true. That's really my creed for life, that I want to live my life exactly like that.
That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, Tessa, thank you so much for being here. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everything that you've done for me and the influence you've had on not only me, but so many others. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather. And you are a gift to the world, honey.
Oh, thank you. And everyone watching or listening can find more at tessagreenspan.com. All social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. is under Tessa Greenspan. And she had mentioned the Tuesdays at Tessa's at 10 with Dr. Deb Carlin.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I will post all of those links as well in the show notes so people can go there and just click directly on it. Find copies of Tessa's book on Amazon as well as your site, and just continue to live life full of laughter and love. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Go Reflect Yourself. Please rate and review this episode, and if something moved you, please feel free to share. For more inspired action or to stay in touch, head on over to goreflectyourself.com or heatherjcrider.com. You can also take the growth mindset quiz and learn where your current growth mindset lies. Stay in touch on all social media at Heather J. Crider. Until next time, this is your host, Heather Crider, and I am challenging you to go reflect yourself so you can discover and become who you are meant to be.